What is up, everyone? This is ND Sean 45 coming at you live on a nice Friday evening. Maybe the weather's crappy in your neck of the woods, but getting right into things. Neither Ben or Ryan could make it here tonight, but we've got a very special guest joining me. So please welcome my good friend, the one, the only, the greatest Georgia Bulldog fan, in my opinion, ever, Magnum. What's up, buddy?
At this point, Sean, am I really a special guest anymore? I'm like your, I guess we'll call it like emergency co-host or something.
Well, you are special, and considering the fact that this is primarily a Notre Dame page, yeah, you're considered a special guest, absolutely. But no, he's right. We've been good friends for several years now, and I wouldn't call you a backup. Come on, man, you're better than that.
Well, I'm just saying, as far as your show goes. I mean, this is a Notre Dame show mostly. So yeah, in this particular case, yeah, I'm like backup, I guess we'll say. But hey, I say it every time. I enjoy coming on your show and everything. It's always fun.
Oh, it's definitely been a blast. We get a lot of good views when you're on here, especially when things get a little crazy and you start speaking your mind, man.
Oh God! Yeah, I mean, yeah. See, I swear to God, some of y'all love to say certain, even on Facebook. Some people they just say certain things because they know it gets me started. I know y'all do that shit on purpose.
Well, I don't do anything on purpose. I mean, I've seen that drama unfold, yes, but I've never tried to push your buttons or anything like that.
Well, I know. I mean, yeah, you're different than a lot of the other guys, but I mean, I know they do that shit on purpose just because they want to get me started on my rants. I mean, I can't blame them. Like, I've gone on some rants and then I go back and watch, and then I do laugh because I'm like, God damn, I really said that.
Exactly. It's a lot of fun, and it's a heat of the moment that I think everybody, along with myself, it's a heat of the moment stuff that really drives it home.
Yeah, but I mean, it's college football would not be college football without trash talk. Simple as that.
Yeah, without trash talk, without passion, it'd be pretty. I agree, it'd be pretty dull.
Yeah.
I got to bring this up real quick. So we got a couple people watching, from what I can see. NDF, stick with us, bud. We will be talking about this later. So Magnum, let's just dive right in. So the first part is nothing new. We both knew that, along with everybody else in the college football world, that the playoffs were going to be expanding to 12. But this week we finally found out what the format's going to be, and they're going with a 5+7 format, which means the four top conference champions, and then a spot reserved for the group of five, or the highest ranked group of five, and then seven at-large bids. So I guess before we get going with anything, since you're my guest co-host tonight, what's your thoughts on that format and the 12-team playoff in general?
Well, even before the 12-team playoff, before it came around, me and you talked before, and I was always under the opinion, I think 8 teams are perfect. I think 12 is a little too much. But, if nothing else, the 12-team playoff, I think less teams will be more inclined to cry about, say, oh, we deserve to get in, but we didn't. I mean, you're always going to have maybe that team that didn't get in, they're going to cry. But, I just think 12 is too many. I think 8 is ideal. But with the format that they came up with, I can see why Notre Dame fans would be a little upset here. And I think it was mentioned, like, let's just say Notre Dame is the number 1 team in the country. Just hypothetically. And because they're not in a conference, they wouldn't get the number 1 seed. I don't know if I like that. Just because, I mean, everybody's always saying, well, join a conference. Look, if you're the number one team in the country, I mean, there's no question in my mind that you deserve that number one seed. Period. I don't care, conference or no conference. If you're the number one team, you get the number one seed. So I can understand why Notre Dame fans would be a little upset here. But other than that, I mean, I kind of agree with everything else. I mean, not. I mean, I think 8 teams is perfect, but the way they're doing the 12 teams, other than that, what I just mentioned, I think the rest of it's all right. I do see more people complaining about more SEC teams getting in. I think that goes without saying because let's just hypothetically, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but just hypothetically, let's say your top 2 teams in the SEC or Georgia and Alabama, right? Okay. But, if we're going to go off like what happened a couple of years ago where Tennessee, they won, 10 games, they were probably most likely going to be in. If you have Ole Miss winning 10 games, more than likely they're going to be in. So I can honestly see 3 to 4 SEC teams getting in as long as they have maybe like a 10-2 record. I don't think any 3-loss team should get in. Now, this is where I'm probably going to disagree with a lot of people. Let's just say whether it be the Big Ten, SEC, whatever. I don't think a 3-loss team, period, whether it be conference champion or no conference champion, I don't think they deserve to get in. That's just me. If you're going to sit there and tell me a 3-loss conference champion deserves to get in over a 1-loss non-conference champion, I will never, ever agree with that crap. So there's some things about it I like, but there's also a couple things I don't like.
Well, this upcoming season is definitely going to be obviously the year where we really see the pros and cons take effect. I mean, that's how it is with anything that you do for the first time. Yeah, I'd like to think that they somewhat got it right here. And of course, the Pac-12 dismantling, I know that screwed up a lot of things because only 2 teams left there. But 12 teams. I will say this. I know what you said about the SEC, and there are going to be more SEC teams in there. Well, that could be the case, but overall, it's a case of, hey, win. No matter who it is, win. If you win, you deserve to be there.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said that, and the people who complain about that shit, it's just that they're tired of seeing 1 or 2 teams constantly in there. But you know what? Hey, that's not our fault. That's not our problem. You don't like it. Do something about it. Fucking beat us. Win your conference and get in. If the people look. You've heard me say this 1,000 times. 99% of college football fans are dumb as fuck. I'll see, here I go. I'm about to get started. They whine and complain about the same goddamn teams getting in every year. And then when another team does get in, let's, go back to 2022, TCU gets in and they get absolutely obliterated by Georgia. And then people want to talk shit. Oh, well, the only reason Georgia won is because you played TCU. Motherfuckers, y'all are the one complaining that we didn't have new teams in there. So, I'm always dealing with these kind of people on Facebook. I mean, most of these people are hypocrites. They don't know their ass from their fucking elbow. And see here, I done got fucking going again. God damn it!
Well, I should have put a disclaimer.
But I'm just saying, I don't care. Me personally, I don't care if the same teams are in every year. If they're good enough, if they're the best teams in the country, who gives a shit? They deserve to be in.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you have busted your tail off all season, you earn your ranking, you get in. But real quick, before we go even further, to everybody who's watching right now, here in the live chat, I am posting the link to the stream here. So if you want to get in here and talk to us for a couple minutes, feel free to do so. But just keep in mind that we do have a 5-minute time limit for callers, so keep that in mind. So if you got a question for myself or for Magnum, do not hesitate to click that tab. But we're not going to start taking calls just. I mean, you can come and sit in the back room if you want to, but we've got a few other things to discuss. So Magnum, what do you? I don't know if you've seen this in post news of the 5+7 format, but what do you think of the rumblings out there of people that are already, even though we haven't played a snap in the 12-team playoff era yet, there's already people wanting to expand it to 14.
I heard something about. I saw a post. Was it earlier today or some shit? I don't know, but it was saying something like that they could expand to 16 teams as soon as 2025, which would be the season after this upcoming season. I'm like, when I saw that, I was like, what are we doing? Like, are we just going to decide to give half of college football a fucking participation trophy? I mean, god damn, that's just way too much. People complain about blowouts in a 14 playoff. Imagine the goddamn blowouts you're going to see with 16 teams. I mean, we're already going to see some with 12 teams. I mean, for fuck's sake, you guys seriously want to give like the best group of 5 team an automatic bid? You seriously want to put fucking Tulane or Coastal Carolina up against a major SEC power? Watch what the fuck happens. The blowouts are going to get out of control, especially with 16 teams, and people are going to whine and bitch about it. I've been trying to tell everybody since we found out that the 12-team expansion was coming. It's already bad enough with the 4 teams, in the playoffs. Imagine 12 teams.
Well, NDF made a comment, Alabama versus SMU. I gotta say though, if this was back in the 80s, that might have meant something. That might have been a pretty big matchup.
Yeah, back then, yeah, but nowadays, yeah, the perfect example. Yeah, let's say SMU gets that automatic, a bid, and they end up having to play Georgia or Alabama. They are absolutely going to get their shit pushed in with no lube, and then people are going to complain about fucking blowouts.
That was brutal.
I'm just saying, man. I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, we saw not this past season, but the season before, TCU beats Michigan, and then all of a sudden, going into the national championship games, like there are people out there that really thought TCU was going to beat Georgia. How stupid can you get? And then they get blown out. Then all of a sudden, it was just TCU. I mean, the college football fans as a whole are fucking retards.
I hate to say it, but there's some validity to that statement, because people, we've talked about this before. Like when that happened last year with TCU, and everyone was already all of a sudden turning on them after they were riding the miracle ride story and whatnot.
Yeah.
Listen. I know we saw how that championship game went. Nobody's denying that TCU got their asses kicked, but they did still, regardless of what you think, they did everything that was asked of them to be there. So regardless,
they won a playoff game.
Yeah, and they beat a good Michigan team. And I mean, granted that there was like no defense in that game whatsoever, but that's beside the point. They did what was asked of them. They won the semifinal game, and they got to the championship.
Yeah, that's what gets me. They sitting there talking about TCU didn't belong. It's just people just go full retard and forget the fact that they beat the Big Ten champions in a playoff game. I'm like, really? So I'm just going to sit there and say they didn't deserve to be there when they won a fucking playoff game? Get the fuck out of here. Like, god damn, people are stupid.
Well, and also let's look at it. Let's look at this hypothetical. Let's say Michigan won against TCU, and they played Georgia. I mean, listen, that Georgia team I want to say last season, but last season just ended. But we'll say the season before, technically. What makes you think that they couldn't have done that to Michigan? That Georgia team couldn't have done what they did to TCU against Michigan as well. I mean, Georgia's been riding high these last 3 or 4 years. I mean, they are one hell of a program.
Yeah, and nobody can convince me otherwise that if Georgia would have played Michigan this past year, it would have been a similar result as 2021. It would have been like 30 something to 14 or some shit like that. Like, no, I don't care what anybody says. Michigan is not built to match up with Georgia. Certain teams are, but Michigan is not. I mean, goddamn, over the last 3 years, there's only been one team to be able to beat us, and that's Alabama.
Yeah, it's crazy how they found that formula. Probably maybe a little luck splash in there too. I don't know, but they've been able to do it. I know it sucks for you to hear, but they have been able to find a way to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I expect that to change here in the not too distant future. You know, with Nick Saban gone, I think shit's about to change. You know, if you're an Alabama fan, hello, Mike Shula years.
There you go. It will be interesting to see what Kevin DeBoer does with that team.
Yeah, and you know, he'll probably have a pretty good season. You know, I mean, look, there's no other Nick Saban out there. I mean, there's no, so there's going to be a drop off, and they've lost a lot of players, and they're going through coaches. I mean, people don't think there's going to be a drop off. Well, you're fucking stupid, but I expect probably within the next 2 to 3 years, that's when you're going to start seeing the real effects. I mean, they have a ton of talent on the team right now, and then most of the time, when you've got that much talent, gathered together, talent alone can win you some games despite piss poor coaching.
Right. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that. Sometimes it's not always the player's fault, and there are times where the players do know more than the coach does.
Yeah, and it just I guess it remains to be seen. We'll see what he can do in year one. I mean, I'm looking forward to that game when Georgia goes to Tuscaloosa next year. I always look forward to that game, and we got a tough schedule next year. We can run the gauntlet and maybe have just one loss. I mean, it's with that schedule we got next year, it's going to be really tough to run that entire schedule and not have a loss. I mean, yes, I'm a Georgia fan, but at the same time, I'm pretty fucking realistic. I mean, I get it. That's a tough ass schedule, but if we can get through the schedule with one loss, I mean, we'll be perfectly fucking fine.
Well, two things. I'll have to bring that schedule up, but from what I remember seeing on it, yeah, you're gonna have to definitely earn every win that you get. But if you do that, you guys will have earned a playoff bid for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we start off the season with Clemson. I know we go to Texas, we go to Alabama, we go to Ole Miss. Because Ole Miss came to Athens this past year and we blasted them. I mean, I don't really see us having too many issues with Ole Miss, but just because it's a away game, it makes the little things a little tougher. But it's to me, it's that Texas and Alabama game because those are true road games within the conference. The Clemson game, that'll be at a neutral site. So, and I fully expect to beat Clemson, but that Texas and Alabama game will tell me everything I need to know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely, for sure. But going back to the playoffs for a second, when we were talking about how there's already people that are looking to expand it to 14, maybe 16, I think that's because after these next 2 years, that's when all the major bowl games stop having conference tie-ins. And to really push the playoffs forward, that I think that's why they're looking at potentially 14 teams, depending on how things go.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the playoffs, there's another thing I don't like about it, because in that first round, they're one of the two teams, whoever is matched up, they're going to have a home game. Okay, so they're actually going to have a fucking home game, in a playoff game. Well, if they win that and go to the next round, one of the four teams that had a bye, the team that had a bye, they're not going to get a home game. So I think that's kind of fucked up, if you ask me. It's like, well, if you're going to give these teams right here a home game, why not, give the team that earned a fucking bye a home game,
Well, there's several different ways you could go with that. This is definitely the pros and cons part of this format. And the funny thing is with the first round, the teams that don't win their conference and just get a chance to host the game and so on. Did you know that they don't necessarily have to play on their campus?
Okay, so hold on, say that one more time.
The teams that play in the first round and the ones that host those first round games, I didn't realize this, but they technically do not have to play on their home campus if they don't want to. They could pick a neutral site. They could play wherever they wanted to. So,
I don't see why they would do that. I mean, if you have the opportunity to have a home game in the fucking playoffs, why wouldn't you do that?
Oh, I know that. I agree with you. I agree, but I'm just saying, like, if a team wanted to say have a first round game at Lambeau Field in December where it's freezing cold, they could do that if they wanted to. So that's just the part that I found interesting. But no, you keep it on your home campus because that's one more home game. That's another round of ticket sales and concessions and all that stuff. So no, you make that money for your school. And I actually heard them talking about that on because NDF here saying, wait, what? I actually heard them talking about that on the show Crane and Company. And I mean, that's just the information they were reading off of. So maybe they got it wrong. I don't know. But all I know is that it sounds like that those first round teams that host a playoff game, they don't necessarily have to play it at their home stadium if they don't want to.
Well, there again, I mean, I don't see any team selecting a neutral site. I think they'll play their home game, but that goes back to what I was saying a while ago. They'll get to have a home game, and the teams that earned a bye, they're not going to get to. They're going to have to play in one of the major bowls. And here's the way I look at it. Look, college football has changed over the last 10 years. The college football playoffs have all but made every other bowl irrelevant. We've seen so many players, opt out of the bowl game. I mean, they no longer mean a goddamn thing unless it's a playoff game. This is, different. What, if you're in the playoffs now, fuck the, I'm at the opinion just saying, fuck the goddamn, the bowl games now. If you're going to give these first round teams a home playoff game, then all of these other teams that have earned a bye deserve a home game as well. Fuck the bowls. I mean, y'all want to change college football to the point where it's damn near unrecognizable? Why stop now? To give everybody a fucking home game that earned it.
This is definitely a very fair opinion that I have not heard anyone make yet. And you're kind of onto something here, dude. It makes sense. But I guess at the same time though, just thinking about it, if you're that one of those top four conference champions, wouldn't you love that extra bye week after you just played a conference championship?
Well, obviously, yeah. Especially if you need your players to rest up and get healthy and everything, yeah, the bye week is great. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, again, you're giving these first round teams home games for the fucking playoffs. I mean, if you're one of your conference champions that earned that first round bye, in my opinion, you deserve a fucking home game. Now, if you want to make that final game, the national championship game, 1 year it's in the Rose Bowl, fucking next year it's the Sugar Bowl, fine. But, while, these teams are playing each other in the playoffs, home games, period. I mean, college football has changed so much since the CFP started. And, these other bowl games are practically, useless now. That's the way the CFP has made them.
Yeah. And speaking of which, and I don't know if you've heard anything about this, and I'm pretty sure this is how it goes. Like all 6 major bowl games, they're going to be from now on just used only for the playoffs, correct? Like they're not going to have the bowls in the playoffs and then have a separate Rose Bowl game, a separate Sugar Bowl game. Like
no, as far as I know, all of your major bowls are going to be part of these playoffs.
Okay, that's what I thought because I didn't think they were going to have separate, like just the separate bowl games from the playoffs. Because obviously the bowl games, I know the 6 major bowl game locations, they're being used for the 12-team playoff. But they're not going to have a separate game for the rest who don't make the playoffs.
Right.
So, I didn't think that was happening. But I just wanted to throw that out there. But you're right, though. I mean, yeah, with the playoffs, I mean, with the remaining bowl games. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some good ones that are outside of the NY6, like the Citrus Bowl's always been a good one. The Gator Bowl, Holiday, Sun, even because it's been around for ages. Yeah, they're not going to mean as much anymore. Like, well, a lot of people see those games as the quote unquote toilet bowl anyway, but.
It's like let's call it for what it is now. Let's call it for what it is. Participation trophies. That's the way they are now. Now, before the CFP came around, it wasn't the case. You got an invite to one of the BCS bowls. The Sugar Bowl and Fiesta Bowls. Oh, you were hype. I mean, that's what was a major bowl. But now, unless it's part of the playoff, it's like, oh. Yeah, you had a pretty good season. Here's your consolation prize. It means nothing. That's what it is.
In a way, yeah.
That's the way it is with the CFP around, because that's exactly why we see so many players opt out these days. Because if it's not part of the playoffs, these players are like, well, why am I going to play and risk my future in the NFL?
And my thought on that was, because I thought about the same thing too, but my thing is you would if you're a top prospect that's going into the NFL, and your team doesn't make the playoff, but rather just one of the other NY6 bowls. My thought was always like, okay, no, you're not playing for a national championship, but this is still a big stage. So why don't you play one more game and really boost your draft stock? Show these NFL teams what you can do on the big stage.
Well, see, that's a possibility, but there's also that possibility that, they would get hurt and that would completely fuck their draft stock. So that's what I'm saying. Unless these bowls are part of the playoffs now, I mean, these players really have no reason to play them. I mean, they have nothing to gain, but everything to lose now.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, of course, with all 6 major bowls being a part of the playoff now, yeah, they're going to be playing in them. But when you talk about the ones that are close to it, like I said, like the Gator, the Citrus, and so on, the ones that have been around forever that have a lot of tradition and prestige. Yeah, I agree with you there. They don't mean as much now as they used to, and that was already the case already. But now, with the way things are, they're just going deeper and deeper down the drain.
I mean, perfect. Here's the perfect example, and it's so recent. Let's take a trip back to December 30th when Georgia and Florida State played each other in the goddamn Orange Bowl. Now, back in the day, the Orange Bowl, before the CFP, that was one of your, BCS bowls. It was a big time bowl game.
Oh, it's been
now it's not part of the playoffs. And what happened? Everybody from Florida State said, nope, fuck this shit. And it turned into the worst massacre in bowl history, as far as winning by the largest margin of victory. Georgia got that. I mean, they actually did it against TCU and beat their own record with Florida State. And Kirby Smart addressed it after the game, that this needs to be fixed. I mean, he fully understood that with everybody leaving, it affected the outcome. Of course it did. I mean, basically their entire roster fucking dipped out. And they wasn't in the playoffs, so why play?
That's a fair point. I mean, I get it. I mean, you can look at it both ways, and both would make a lot of sense. But no, you want, of course, when it comes to these bowl games, you want the best matchups possible. You want them to mean something. That's what it all comes down to. And yeah, some of these games don't mean as much as they used to, and it's sad. It really is.
Yeah, a lot of them don't. They really don't. Unless it's part of the playoffs, they don't mean jack shit now. I mean, let's go back to 2006 Let's go back to 2007. Everybody wanted Georgia and USC to play each other that year, but instead we got Georgia and Hawaii going at it. But it was the Sugar Bowl, so it was still a BCS, BCS bowl. Hawaii was excited as fuck to be there because there again it was a BCS bowl, and they were on a big time stage. I mean, it meant something. But now, if that were to happen, it wouldn't mean fuck all if it wasn't part of the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, a lot of things play into this. NIL plays into it, and the transfer portal, and so on. We could go on forever and ever about how this all plays a factor. But you're right. The game of college football is way different than it was just even 10 years ago. So I mean, it's a lot to sink in. It's a lot to process.
Yeah. I mean, we'll be able to speak more on it after the first year of the 12-team playoff happens. I mean, we're talking about things now. I really want to see it play out. I think after I see it play out for 1 year, I can give a better opinion on it. But all I can do right now is just make guesses, and I mean, you see what I put on Facebook a lot of times. More times than not, my guesses are pretty fucking spot on. And I foresee that this 12-team playoff this first year, there's going to be multiple blowouts, and people are going to be disappointed as fuck. That's just the nature of the beast here. You're watering down the goddamn the playoffs. That's what's going on. 12 teams is just too fucking much. You're getting to the bottom of the barrel here. That's just the way it is.
I will say this: the one positive of it is we will get a chance to see some pretty good matchups. We know they're not all going to be blowouts. There's going to be some good matchups here.
I mean, obviously there's going to be some good games. I mean, not every game is going to be blowouts. There's going to be some good matchups, and there again, let's just take for example TCU 2022. Let's say if they get in, and in order for them to make the national championship, they're going to have to work their way through the playoffs and get there. So if they do get to that national championship game, I don't think anybody can say that they didn't deserve to be there to begin with in 2022, but they definitely won't be able to say shit on the 12-team format. I mean, if you have a team like TCU or let's just say Cincinnati from a couple years ago, if they're able to go through the playoffs and get to the national championship game, even if they get blasted in the national championship game, I mean, they earned their way there.
Yeah, you can't argue that. You can't argue that. It would just be a case of, okay, this smaller school made it. They have a nice run. They ran into a wall. I mean, we see it. I mean, we see that all the time in the and this you could really make the big comparison to like the NCAA basketball tournament. I mean, how many we see a lot of blowouts in that all the time.
Yeah.
I guess the difference between this and the basketball tournament is here you only get 12 teams. The basketball tournament you get 68. And even I hear that's has the potential to possibly grow in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't like comparing college football to college basketball.
I don't either. All I'm trying to compare is the field, the number in the field.
Well, I mean, I see where you're coming from there. It's like, when you're talking about college basketball, I mean, you're basically talking about half of the fucking teams in college basketball, making the fucking March Madness. Like, I think that I just think it's too much, and I think 12 teams is too much in college football. I mean, if we're honest here, when you start talking about your top 12 teams, there's definitely going to be some 2-loss teams in there, period. But you may have 1, maybe 2, 3-loss teams. I mean, are we really going to sit here and say a 3-loss team that deserves to get in, or that's where we're at now in college football?
Yeah, I mean, is it going to be that's the $1 million question? Is it going to be 100% the absolute best field for the 12-team playoff?
Yeah, and I just really think that I get it. Let's just say a group. Let's say a group of 5 team. We'll say fuck it. We'll say Cincinnati. All right. We'll say Cincinnati gets
Well, actually,
that.
they're in the Big 12 now.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Right. Okay. Well, fuck.
Tulane. How about Tulane?
Yeah, say let's use Tulane. Okay. Fuck it. We'll use Tulane. Let's just say Tulane gets that 5th spot, and they have 1 loss. Okay, and you got a 3-loss. We'll say a 3-loss LSU team. All right.
Yeah.
Do we really think that 1-loss Tulane team would beat that an LSU team on a neutral field?
Most likely not.
I mean, it could happen. Upsets happen, but I think the chances of that happening are very, 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 very small. So I don't know. I guess I'm just conflicted with that particular argument right there. It's like I hate the fact that a group of 5 is getting an automatic spot, and I don't like that idea. There's a reason why the shit hasn't worked out like too well for them.
They honestly that. Sometimes I wonder if it wouldn't almost be better if the quote unquote group of 5 would be better off just having their own championship.
Now maybe or something along those lines. Like I just don't feel that the group of 5 team deserves an automatic bid. I just don't like that, because if you had a gun to my head, I'm taking whether I don't care LSU or well fuck it, we'll say another SEC team. What Ole Miss? I'm taking a 3-loss team over that group of 5 Tulane team all day, any day on a neutral field. I just don't like the idea that they get an automatic bid, and the scheduling has to be fucking accounted for. God damn it! Look at their schedules over there in the group of 5. They don't play shit. I mean, now with the expansion, I mean, for example, fuck it. Let's say Georgia's a 3-loss team, right? And we play the Alabamas, we play the Texas now. I mean, we're probably gonna play several of these games every year. We're gonna play Alabama, Texas, and
Oklahoma will be scattered in there.
All these teams. Like, the competition has to fucking matter.
Well, I mean, listen, I'm not going to take anything away from these group of 5 teams who have had some success in the BCS/NY6 era. Okay, they've won some games. I mean, Boise State had a nice run there back, 15 years ago. Tulane's won a game. Who else? There's somebody else that won a major bowl that I'm. But all I'm saying, the point is they've had some nice little surprises where they've won these big games. But look at this recent year in the Fiesta Bowl, Liberty against Oregon. Now, come on. Most of us knew that Liberty was going to get their crap tossed in that game. And sure enough, they did.
Yeah, and that's again perfect example. You're going to see a lot of that shit in the playoffs. That's the way it is. If you're going to give a group of 5 team an automatic bid, you're going to see that more times than not. Yes, there'll be occasions where a specific group of 5 team may, pull off an upset. Upsets happen. I get it.
Yeah. Nobody's saying that these group of 5 teams don't win big games against Power 5 teams. Of course they do. We all know that. But I'm just saying, when it comes postseason, I mean, let's face it, the postseason, that's a whole new season, man.
Yeah. I mean, now, you're talking about the best of the best. It's the fucking playoffs.
Exactly.
And more times than not, probably 95% of the time, that group of 5 team is going to get absolutely obliterated on the field.
Exactly. And real quick, to everybody watching again here in the live chat, I am pasting the the link if you guys want to come in here and ask us, talk to us at all, ask us a question, share your thoughts with us. The link is right there. Click on it, and we will start taking your calls very soon. All 4 of you that are watching right now. But I don't know, man, that little eyeball icon, do you think there could be actually more people watching than that?
I think there could be, because it's the same way on YouTube. Like when I do streaming, like when I get done streaming, I'll check up to see how my views did there in the live stream. Like it could say that I've got 7 to 8 people viewing, but as soon as I get done streaming, like my views are like in the let's say 30s or 40s almost instantly. So it's not, no, that in most cases, no, that's not accurate.
Yeah. I wish I could do something where it shows where it's more accurate. But anyway, that's beside the point. But staying on topic here with the playoffs and all that. Now, I know this is not really your problem, Magnum, because you're a Georgia Bulldog fan, and but regardless, you obviously heard all the talk the past couple days with Notre Dame and how Paul Feinbaum was going off on us. And
yeah.
I don't know where the hell all that came from, because
to be fair, it hasn't been just Paul Feinbaum. I sat there and watched Stephen A. Smith rip Notre Dame a new asshole, dude. If there's
Stephen A. Smith
should be going after, it's Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah. And of course, I'm not surprised with either one of those two. And you're right. I shouldn't have just said Paul Feinbaum. I knew Stephen A. Smith was shooting his mouth off too. But let me just say this real quick with Stephen A. Smith. This guy has been on ESPN for what, 20 plus years now?
Yeah, he's been there a long ass time.
When is he going to realize that he doesn't have to scream into the microphone?
That's just his shtick, man. That's why people watch him, just because of his mannerisms and everything. And that's the same with Mad Dog Russo. Him and Mad Dog Russo are almost exactly the same. That's why I find it hilarious when they're debating with each other, because they always get into a screaming matchup. I mean, it's fucking hilarious. I think at times both of them are dumb as fuck, but it's entertaining.
Yeah, basically Stephen A. Smith, he's almost trying to steal, in my opinion, he's trying to steal Spike Lee's gimmick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna look in the camera at you. I'm gonna look all intimidated and angry, and you're gonna listen to what I have to say.
Yeah, that's pretty much Stephen A. Smith right there. Look, some of what Stephen A. Smith says, I get it, but look, when it comes to talking college football, that man needs to stay the fuck away from. I mean, he needs to stick more towards basketball. I think for the most part, he knows what he's talking about when it comes to basketball, but college football, holy shit, leave it alone.
Yeah. And the thing is, with Paul Feinbaum in particular, because we see Notre Dame, there's really not much of a history with us and Stephen A. Smith. So I wasn't trying to ignore Smith, but Paul Feinbaum, I'm telling you, dude. And first off, I don't really know how many Notre Dame fans were actually bitching about our situation with the playoffs, since we're not we're not in the conference and we can't get one of those first round buys. But the thing is, before the board voted unanimously on this 5+7 format, us Notre Dame fans already knew that we weren't going to get a first round bye, that we had no chance at it. So he's going on. So Paul Feinbaum's going on saying that we're irrelevant, we're this, we're that, cry me a river, blah, 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 blah. Well, none of us were really bitching about it because we already knew how it's gonna go. But I tell you, dude, I know Feinbaum. He is an SEC, in particular, Nick Saban nut hugger. We all know that. We know that with a passion, and nobody can deny that. But I swear, dude, when it comes with the stuff that he said about us in the past, like I always used to think, okay, you know what? Maybe this guy, it's just his shtick. He's playing a character. He's trying to get people riled up. And because, let's face it, when you start controversy and you start pissing people off, that's when the views follow. The views and the clicks follow that. We know that. But I got to be honest, Magnum, the stuff that he's been saying recently in the past couple of years about Notre Dame, it doesn't sound like shtick anymore. I think this guy has some serious personal issues with Notre Dame, because let's start with the first example that comes to mind. Our playoff appearances haven't exactly been pretty, and I wholeheartedly admit that. I mean, it is what it is. It's right there on the screen. But there's also been plenty of other teams who have had crappy playoff appearances and, have never won. Like, for example, Oklahoma, they've been to the playoffs 4 times, lost all 4 times. Why is Paul Feinbaum not saying, oh, the Oklahoma Sooners, they've never won a playoff game. They should never be allowed in ever again. So it's like he's not – this guy's not consistent, which tells me that he has some deep-seated issues with Notre Dame in particular.
I just think it goes back to what I've talked about with you on your show multiple times. Until Notre Dame wins – a playoff game. Like, I just think it's going to continuously happen, dude, because Notre Dame is catching exactly what we caught for a long time. It's like, we can't win. Oh yeah, Georgia can't win the big game. They always choke when it matters most. And well, that shit's out the window now. Thank fuck for that. But Notre Dame is catching a lot of this. So I fully understand where you're coming from, because I dealt with it for years and years and years. And I'll tell you exactly why Oklahoma doesn't catch the kind of crap that you do. Well, they're actually, obviously now they're in the SEC, but, they were in a Big 12 conference. They were, winning conference championships. They also have a more recent national title than Notre Dame, and they are I know Notre Dame is technically considered a blue blood, but Oklahoma has had more success recently as a blue blood, so that's why they're not catching the crap. It sucks, I know, but
well, and don't get me wrong. I'm sorry. Finish your point. I didn't mean to cut you.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, I'm not saying, and this applies to every team, not just Notre Dame, but nobody is playing the game to earn Paul Feinbaum's approval. That's not what it's about. You don't win to get some jackass broadcaster's approval. You win because you want to win championships. You want to win for your school and so on. But it's just like, to see some of these people go off on particular teams the way they do, especially like Feinbaum, it's like, dude, do you not? I mean, I get that Nick Saban's not at Alabama anymore, so you can't constantly kiss his ass. But what is your deep-seated issue with Notre Dame so much? I mean, did you apply and get rejected, or? And plus, myself personally, I think it's something more than that. But I don't want to get too controversial here. But it's like, I know he's a shock jock. I know that he likes to stir the pot, but I'm serious, dude. I think there's some deep-seated issues that go beyond whether a team hasn't won a national title in almost 40 years. I think it goes beyond that.
I mean, it's possible. But to me, there's definitely a team out there that I think deserves more criticism, but yet every year they're jacked off like they're the second coming of fucking Christ in college football, and that's Ohio fucking State. I'm seriously fucking tired of the media jacking them off year in and year out. They always reel in a top fucking class every year, and they always, they're falling short every fucking year. It's time that these talking heads. Like you said, I think that they need to treat certain teams exactly the way they're talking about Notre Dame, because Ohio State. I mean, yeah, even though Ohio State has a national championship 10 years ago, they talk about these guys like they win every fucking year, and they haven't won dick in 10 years, and they haven't even won the Big Ten in 3 straight years.
Well, and that's just it. I know for us, 38 years is a long ass time. But really, when you think about it, so is 10 years. I mean, that's a freaking decade. That's a long time. That's a long time as well.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, especially when you're looked at as a national title favorite every fucking year. And that's what gets me. They have all this so-called talent just stockpiled, and they fall up short every damn year. And it's time people start giving them the same criticism that they give other teams. I mean, I don't discriminate. I mean, if I see that you're you're being more hyped than what you deserve, I'm going to fucking say it. God damn it. I don't care who it is. And for the longest time, I mean, I hated it. But as a Georgia fan, I mean, what could I say? But I mean, because what people were saying were true. We would win SEC championships. We would come so close to making the national championship game. And we did make it there in 2017. But all those times we came up short. So I mean, as much as I hated it, God damn it, I mean, what they were saying was true. Now, of course, winning back-to-back national championships, that'll change people's perspective towards you.
Yeah, they'll start talking a little more.
Yeah, and so I think whether it's Notre Dame or whoever, I think once you can win that first playoff game, dude, I think the narrative will change. Now you'll still have people out there to talk shit. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast in college football. That's just the way it is. But I think as far as the talking heads go, Notre Dame gets to the playoffs, and at least if they can win a playoff game, then I think you'll have more of these talking heads. Maybe like, well, they got there this year. They actually won a playoff game. That's a nice building block. Let's see what they can build off that towards next year. I think we'll see a little more of the positivity coming you guys' direction. But you got to win that first playoff game. I think that's where all the criticism comes from. It's like talking about Notre Dame, this and that, and they can't, win a major bowl game. But the moment you do, it'll slow down. It ain't gonna stop, but it'll slow down.
Well, and like I said, I mean, of course, I don't care about the approval of any of the heads. What they say doesn't mean dick to me anyway. But it's just crazy that some asshole focus is so brutal with one team so much. It's like there's definitely some personal issues there for sure. And honestly, I think what a lot of in particular Feinbaum's problem is, well, Mike Golick covered this back in 2012. And I think one of the things that Paul Feinbaum is really angry about is all these different perks that Notre Dame gets. And like I said, Mike Golick said it back in 2012. Is Notre Dame forcing anybody's hand to give them things like NBC and the TV contract, or a seat at the at that point the BCS selection committee, now the playoff selection committee? What else? All these different buyouts and stuff like that. Whatever take your pick on whatever the case may be. Well, in that case, Feinbaum and Stephen A. Smith, even they should be pissed off at the NCAA and NBC and all the other entities that are giving this stuff to Notre Dame. I mean, it's not like Notre Dame's putting a gun to their head and saying, "Give this to us, and we'll do this."
Yeah, I mean that could yeah, I could see that being part of it. But at the same time, as a talking head, who gives a shit about a TV contract? I mean, if okay, for example, if I had Paul Feinbaum's job, I mean, my job is to be, let me talk about this team. How do I think this team is going to do? How about this team? I'm not going to give two flying fucks about a team having a TV contract and this team don't. That has no effect whatsoever of how a team is going to play on a fucking football field. I don't care about those TV contracts. I mean, but that may be the case with Feinbaum. I don't know. I don't know the guy, but I do think he does say some shit a lot of times that's just like, where the fuck did that come from? I'll agree with you on that. Me personally, most of the talking heads I don't care for. Period. Most of them are fucking stupid. And that's the problem. And I think that's the problem with the majority of college football fans. They listen to these people and they take what they say as the gospel, and then they go around and repeating what they heard. And it's like, really, like this is where we're at now. You guys are that fucking retarded. Y'all are easily brainwashed now. Get the fuck out of here.
Feinbaum obviously has some Jim Jones like powers.
Yeah, there's a lot of these talking heads that, quite frankly, should just get off fucking television, dude. And I mean, people can say what they want to say, but the fact that Kurt Herbstreit was urging Dylan Raiola to go to Nebraska. Now, maybe Raiola had made up his mind he was going to go to Nebraska before then. I don't know. I don't give a fuck. But the fact that Kurt Herbstreit was doing that, to me, dude, fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Like, as an analyst, you are not supposed to be doing shit like that, period. Like, what are you doing?
That would technically be tampering, wouldn't it?
I would think so.
It has all the makings of it.
Yeah, and then Kurt Herbstreit can say what he wants to say, but I can't stand that motherfucker with a passion. I mean, I didn't like him before, but after that, that was the final straw.
That put it over the hump. That's the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, and another one. I mean, you got people like Desmond Howard that sits there and want to jack off Michigan year in and year out. Like, fuck off. Look, that's one of the reasons why I love David Pollock. David Pollock was so unbiased, and a lot of our fans hated him because a lot of times he picked against Georgia. That's his fucking job. That's he's giving his honest opinion, and he's not sitting there sucking on a red and black dick 24/7. He was being honest, and I can respect that. But guys like Desmond Howard and Kurt Herbstreit that want to shove their alumni down our throats 24/7. And I'm sorry, Lou Holtz was the same way. I know you love Lou Holtz, but let's be honest, he was the same way with Notre Dame. I just think if you've got that much bias as an analyst, you don't deserve to be on TV.
Yeah, no, I get it. I understand. No offense taken. I mean, Lou's a Notre Dame guy. He loves them. I get it. You're not going to hear any arguments from me on that. But yeah, like I said, guys, we know that plenty of you are viewing out there, so the link is there in the live chat. So if you want to come in and talk to us for a couple minutes, hit that link, and we'll take you right to the back room, and we'll bring you on. So,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I want to say this stuff. A lot of people don't like him, but I love him. I think Pat McAfee being on game day is awesome. I think he brings an energy to that show that was lacking for the longest time. And him doing his little stunts, I love that shit. I love the energy he brings to game day. I mean, for fuck's sake, for years it was like a funeral up there with Lee Corso's old geriatric ass. I'm sorry, Lee Corso's a game day legend. I love it, but that man can't even put a sentence together now. Get him the fuck out of there. Kurt Herbstreit can get the fuck out. Desmond Howard can get the fuck out. I like Reese Davis. I like Reese Davis. He can stay. Bring back David Pollock, keep Reese Davis, keep Pat McAfee. I'm good.
Right. I mean, there's too much bias on there. I agree. And NDF, no, it's okay, dude. It's okay. We're not talking just you. We're talking anybody who wants to come in. Anybody who's watching wants to come and talk to us, you're welcome to. That's what makes it fun, is talking to the viewers. So now, again, Magnum, I know that you're kind of on the outside looking in at this, but with the whole situation in the playoffs and people thinking that Notre Dame got the raw end of this on the 5+7 format, well, I mentioned them earlier in the show because they're the best example that I've seen of this so far. And I should have downloaded the clip for this. I should have played it, but it was from the show Crane and Company, and really, when you think about this with Notre Dame, people are pissed off. We're not able to get a first round bye, and because we're not in a conference and this and that. Well, what a lot of people don't realize, and these guys made perfect sense of it. Why would we want to join a conference anytime soon when this format is actually set up for us to have some success? Because all we have to do right now is win in the regular season, preferably 12-0, 11-1. And then while everybody else is playing their championship week, their conference championship games, we get a bye. And then even if the highest seed we can get is 5, okay, whatever. I mean, yeah, that first round bye would be nice, but you get a chance to potentially host a first round game. And like I said earlier, if this is accurate, play it either in South Bend or anywhere else that you want to, especially, I mean, I'd stay in South Bend because the weather would affect a lot of people that aren't used to playing in that weather. But you get a chance to host a first round game, But then, in addition to having that first week off during championship week, that's an extra week worth of tape that you can prepare your team for. So, as they put it, as far as brand goes, Notre Dame is the last pretty girl left at the dance. The conference has won them, but based on that, with how this format is, when you actually sit down and look at how it's set up, all the rules of it, the stipulations and the buys and whatnot, it's actually Notre Dame's favor. So all the Notre Dame fans that are complaining, I don't know why they are. And plus,
here's the thing, man. It's like, look, if you get an invite to the playoffs, I mean, seriously, it don't matter if you're one of the 4 teams to get a bye or if you're one of the teams to play in the first round. You've got the opportunity. If you're a national championship team, you're going to win. If you have the opportunity, I don't care. First round bye, no bye. You either take advantage of it or you don't. And if you don't have nobody to blame but yourself.
Yeah, that's what all comes down to. I agree. I agree with you on that. And plus, something I wanted to add to my point is sometimes buys don't always work out the best way that you might think they do. Because sometimes those teams that don't get a bye and they're playing, they're staying fresh as far as like on the field play goes. Not saying that's always the case, but there can be an advantage sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, you always got the cases of, maybe there is such thing as too long of a layoff.
Exactly.
That's just college football. I mean, sometimes it works out in your favor, and sometimes it doesn't. But there again, if you're one of the teams that get into the playoffs, there's your opportunity. It doesn't matter if you get a first round bye or not. You're there. You got your opportunity. Take advantage of it. If you don't, fuck it. It's your fault.
Exactly. And listen, I've said this a million times. If Notre Dame ever decides that they want to join a conference as a full member, which obviously, they don't in hockey because the hockey landscape is a little different in college. But if let's say we join the ACC full time, I don't care if we join a conference. I really don't. It makes no difference to me. Just win on the field. But as it stands right now, you don't have to. So until it gets to the point where you absolutely have to, don't. But that's what drives me nuts with all the conference fanatics. It's like, listen, that's if we join one, fine. I don't care. I'm still only going to be loyal to Notre Dame and nobody else. Oh, and hey, we got someone you might recognize.
Oh God. It's my fault. I told her that I was going to be on tonight, and I sent her the link and everything. So she knew I was going to be on the show tonight.
That's awesome. Hope you're doing well, Christina. So yeah, man. I mean, I don't know what your take is on it. Well, actually, you kind of pretty much did already give your take, but I mean, myself personally, so what if we don't? If the Irish don't ever get a first round bye, and even if they're the number one seed, the number one ranked team in the country, which obviously certain talking heads don't think that could ever happen. I mean, obviously it happened 12 years ago. So no, it's not an everyday thing, but we have been the number one ranked team before. And myself personally, I don't care if we get the first round bye or not. I really don't. And most people be like, you're nuts, Sean, you're nuts. Well, like I said, when you actually look at everything that's set up in place and break it all down, there's a benefit. I mean, I'm not going to bitch about it either way. I just want to get in there and I want to win it.
Yeah. Well, I think, you touched on a while ago. You're talking about the conference thing. You see, with me, I know you know this, but, a lot of people don't. I'm not one of these, conference guys. Like, I fucking hate everybody in the SEC except Georgia. I am not one of these people that are going to sit there and root for my fucking rivals, whether in any bowl game. Dude, I'll fucking choke to death on my own fucking snot before I pull for Auburn in any goddamn game ever. Like I've fuck that shit, dude. I am not one of these conference people. It's like I can't stand that shit. For years, everybody in the SEC wanted to dog us because it's like, oh, look, y'all are making SEC look bad. Y'all ain't winning a national championship, and everybody is. And now we win back-to-back national championships, and everybody's riding our coattails. No, fuck you guys. Y'all gave us shit for years, and don't come riding our coattails now. We don't want you. Fuck you, and fuck the rest of the SEC.
And that's how I would feel like. I mean, obviously the two conferences now we would have to join. If we joined one, it would have to be the ACC because we're, contracted with them for other sports through 2036. Well, like I said, I don't care if we end up in the Big Ten or the ACC. You're not going to start seeing me cheering for other ACC teams or whatever that are outside of us that are playing. I'm not going to start putting up the Big Ten logo or the ACC logo on our show here. No, my loyalty is to Notre Dame and Notre Dame only. Nobody else. I don't play this stupid alliance crap, and it pretty much what you just said.
Yeah, dude. Fuck that, dude. I refuse to pull for any team in my conference except the Dogs. That's it. Period. End of fucking story. Like I refuse. After all, look, maybe it's because like just all the shit we caught for years, and now that Georgia's coming off back-to-back national championships, it's like now the rest of these teams want to ride our fucking coattails. I'm like, no, fuck that. Y'all called us choke artists for years. Y'all called us overrated and all that shit. Now y'all want to ride our coattails. Y'all talk shit to us. Y'all talk shit to us during the season, acting like we're overrated, and then when we do win, y'all want to ride our coattails? No. No, y'all can kiss my red and black ass, goddammit. Like, fuck y'all.
There you go. I hear you on that. I support that 100%. So right now we're not getting any calls yet. Nobody's in the back room, but we'll go ahead and answer some comments here from what I can see. Yeah, this is one that is definitely relevant to me. NDF says, with the schedule we have this year, we might be the number 5 seed. Yeah, I hate to say this, Magnum, but this upcoming season, and granted there were some circumstances that changed, which didn't really help with our schedule. But yeah, if you looked at our schedule this year, it's not exactly the most challenging in the world. This is the one time where all the people who rag on our schedule, that they're somewhat right.
Well, I mean, look, here's the thing, man. People have talked yes, I'm on the outside looking in, but I've seen what's been going on over the last actually a long ass time. People have ragged Notre Dame for years. Okay, now this is a lose-lose situation for you guys. And I'm going to tell you why. Let's say you guys lose a game or two and be like, aha, see, told you, overrated as usual. But then let's say you go 12-0. Oh, look at the schedule you guys had. Of course you're supposed to go 12-0. Look, that's the way it is in college football. I mean, you're always going to have people to hate on teams like Notre Dame, no matter what they do. That's just the way it's been for a long ass time. Mm-hmm. And look, I don't give a fuck. We caught the same thing last year, like this past season. People were talking about how weak Georgia's schedule was. Well, it actually turned out to be pretty damn good because a lot of the teams we played, especially toward the end of the season, actually ended up, being ranked. So, we actually we had a good number of ranked wins, and schedule may look bad now, but let's say these teams you're going against, I mean, who knows? By the time you play these certain teams, they could end up being ranked. And if that is the case and you beat them, that's a ranked win. And that matters.
Oh, I agree with that. Absolutely. The schedule can always change. I mean, teams can get better as the season goes on. But I'm downloading it right now. Okay.
Like how, well, like this past season when Georgia had a close game with Mizzou, people were making fun of Georgia, ragging them, like, oh, y'all almost let Mizzou beat you. Well, look at them at the end of the year. Those motherfuckers were a top 10 team. So, obviously they were pretty legit. I mean, sometimes shit like that happens. I think Mizzou was actually predicted to finish next to the last in the East, if I remember correctly. And those motherfuckers went on to be a top 10 team in the country.
Oh, they shocked a lot of people.
Yeah, and so for all you know, one maybe two of those teams could turn out something like that. But if not, I'm sorry, and I feel the same way with Florida State this past year. In no way, shape, form, or fashion did an undefeated Florida State team deserve to be left out of the playoffs. I'm sorry. Either Texas or Alabama should have been left out. Who, I don't know. Pick your poison. I don't give a fuck. Regardless, an undefeated Power 5 conference champion deserves to be in there. And if Notre Dame goes 12-0, they deserve to get in. Period. End of argument.
Well, and just for the heck of it, I downloaded our schedule, so I'm going to put it up on the screen here, and we're just going to look at it anyway. But this is what we got going on. So we start off the year at Texas A&M. Then we host Northern Illinois, on the road at Purdue. Then the Miami Redhawks and the Louisville Cardinals come to town, which Louisville's not bad. Stanford comes to town. Then we head out to Atlanta to play the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets at Mercedes-Benz. Then we play our annual matchup with Navy. Florida State comes to South Bend, so that's definitely not bad. Virginia, so. And then what's missing from this version of the schedule is originally the Miami Hurricanes were supposed to come to South Bend. I think they were supposed to come to South Bend this year, but they had to back out because of other scheduling issues or something. So just recently, that game got replaced with Army, and that's going to be played at Yankee Stadium. And then we finish out the regular season Thanksgiving weekend against USC. So just being honest, like when you look at the schedule right now as it sits, and
I tell you what, right off the bat, that Texas A&M game being in College Station, you're going to see where Notre Dame's at right off the fucking bat. College Station, that's a tough place to play, man. And with Jimbo Fisher the fuck out of there, I actually think they're going to improve. People can say what they want. Jimbo Fisher was a god-awful coach. Fucking overrated as hell. Now that he's gone, I expect him to actually be better. That opening game, man, that's a tough one to call. I mean, maybe I would feel a little more comfortable Notre Dame winning if that was in South Bend, but that being on the road, first game of the season, dude, that's tough. Now, I'll give you that. That's fucking tough. Now, next couple games, the Huskies, the Boilermakers, Miami, Ohio, those are wins, easy. And then you got Louisville. Now, Louisville made the ACC championship game, this past year. They had a good year.
They've always been a tricky team that could go either way.
Yeah, that's let me see that. That's in South Bend. Okay, so that being a home game for you guys, that gives you a slight advantage in that game. You got Stanford, trash. Georgia Tech,
trash.
Navy, yeah, that's a win. Now Florida State, even though that's in South Bend, that's not going to be. I mean, people are going to be making fun of Florida State because of what happened in the bowl game, but come the regular season, that ain't going to be the same Florida State team. That one could be pretty tough. That one could be interesting.
Yeah.
But with that being in South Bend, that's an advantage. Virginia, no, Notre Dame's got that. USC being
they're a rival. They're always going to play us hard no matter.
Yeah, that's a road game for you guys. So
and then Army, I like to think that's a win.
Yeah, I think that's a win too. So, just looking at your schedule, not knowing what's going to happen this upcoming that Texas A&M game right off the bat,
Well, that, well,
Florida State and USC.
well, those are hands down.
Those are the three games where if Notre Dame wins those three games, like nobody has an argument on God's green earth on why Notre Dame shouldn't be in the playoffs.
Well, and the thing is, I'm not saying that this schedule doesn't have good teams on it. Of course it does. I mean, Texas A&M, right, like you said, right off the bat, Louisville, Florida State, USC, those hands down, those are our top four best opponents. I guess Purdue would be a close fifth. But of course, when you initially look at the schedule, you see two teams from the MAC, two teams from the one or two of the service academies. Yeah, that's most people look at that schedule and think, man, that schedule is,
I've seen worse. That's not as bad. I mean, if people want to make that schedule out to be absolutely terrible, dude, I've seen way worse than that. I mean, that opening game on the road at College Station, bro, that shit's gonna be brutal. That's a tough ass game. I'm not saying this just to say it, but I would probably pick A&M in that game, dude. I really would. Now, I could be fucking wrong, but being at College Station and man, and they do have a look, man. Texas A&M, their defensive line is something fucking fierce. That's gonna be a tough one. If y'all do win that game, man, I mean, there's a good possibility y'all might run the fucking table.
Well, and guess who to add the more drama into it? Guess who Texas A&M's head coach is?
What?
Mike Elko, our former defensive coordinator, and we faced him last year when he was coaching at Duke. So you got the storyline, the tough environment to play in, because the 12th man is always a tough place to play.
Yeah, like that's going to be. Yeah, I think that's going to be a banger right there. Like that's right off the bat. Like if you guys can get through Texas A&M, I mean, I think you guys the next several games they're basically bye weeks, and I think that'll give you good enough time to prepare for Louisville. That being in South Bend, I would say Notre Dame wins that game. They beat Stanford. They beat Georgia Tech. They beat Navy. They beat Army. I would lean probably towards Notre Dame beating Florida State simply because, I think Jordan Travis. Yeah, he's gone. Yeah. So they're going to be breaking in a whole new ass quarterback on the road. A lot of their damn, everybody left those motherfuckers last year. So. Oh man, I would lean more towards Notre Dame in that game. I mean, I think they beat Virginia. Now USC, yeah, that's a toss up, and it's a road game. I definitely see at worst 10-2. I mean, and even at 10-2, I think Notre Dame's a playoff team because with 12 teams, you're gonna have 2 lost teams in there. Like this isn't the 14 playoff anymore. You're gonna have.
There's more opportunity.
Yeah, if y'all go 10-2, you're in the playoffs. And even if you beat USC and let's say lose to Texas A&M, you go 11-1. Oh, no question, you're definitely in the playoffs.
Well, and I guess the thing is with me, you look at some of these teams, and it's like, man, I guess my only thing is, do we really need 2 service academies? Do we really need 2 MAC schools? I mean,
there again, like you said, I mean, look, I can speak on this from us last year. The SEC, they had to cancel our game with Oklahoma last year because with them coming in conference, we had to kind of, get rid of them.
That transitional thing.
Yeah, and we had to, pretty much look for a last-minute replacement, and all we could find was fucking Ball State. It's the same situation here. I mean, you lose Miami, and then you have to find a replacement. Unfortunately, you kind of stuck with Navy. I mean, it's the same thing. You lose a potential, great matchup, and you get some bum. I mean,
Well,
that happened with us.
Well, the thing is, when we schedule that Army game, because that Army game is going to be the Shamrock Series that we do annually, and it's going to be at Yankee Stadium. I mean, that's cool and all because it's the 100th anniversary of the 1924 Notre Dame upset of Army with the Grantland Rice outlined against a blue-gray October sky. The Four Horsemen rode again. That article, which that's cool and all, but from what it sounds like, when it came to that slot on the schedule, the available teams that we had were Army, Syracuse, SMU, and there was one more, but I'm blanking on who it was though. But I'm thinking why wouldn't you try to schedule like an SMU, which is in my opinion, is a better team than Army is.
Yeah, the thing is that's still that's still a major downgrade from what you had in Miami. So it really doesn't matter. Your schedule was going to become weaker because of it, and it's the same way with us. Like I would have loved to have played Oklahoma last year. I really would, but unfortunately, I can't do shit about it, and we got stuck with Ball State.
No, that's true, man. I'm of course I'm not saying that SMU would have blown the schedule away or anything. I'm just saying they are a better team than Army. That much I do know. But yes, are they better than Miami? No.
Yeah, I mean, but your schedule. I mean, your schedule. It's still. I still think it's not absolutely terrible. It's still good enough to where you guys can have a couple losses and I think make the playoffs. I mean, it going to 12 teams. I mean, it benefits a lot of fucking teams.
Right. Oh, there's no denying that.
So, I mean, I'm just going to be watching that first game, dude. Like, I hadn't looked at your schedule until now, and so I didn't know that y'all were playing Texas A&M right off the bat in College Station.
Yep.
Dude, I'm going to definitely be watching that fucking game because that right there, y'all get through that. I mean, there's a great possibility you guys run the fucking table. Yeah, I think that looking at your schedule, I think that's your toughest game, dude. Texas A&M.
Yeah, because I mean, USC, they're still going to be good, but they lost Caleb Williams. Florida State, I think they have a chance to bounce back, but they're without Jordan Travis. So yeah, I mean, maybe I am being too hard on the schedule, but I guess it's just more like you wish you could see like of all these helmets on there, you'd like to see an Ohio State again, or a Michigan, or I don't know, Texas or whoever. I'd like to see us play Georgia again. I think that'd be fun. So hopefully they revisit that down the road because I had a great time down there.
And see those that kind of matchup right there. It's always interesting because that's just matchups that don't happen all of the time.
Yeah,
and those are always worth watching. Regardless of the outcome. And we were lucky enough to where both times that they played, they were pretty good games, especially that first one in 2017. That one was a damn good game. I know, you guys lost by 1 point, but still, I mean, it was a good game, and
it would have been nice. It would have been nice too if our fans weren't a bunch of fucking sellouts.
Well, yeah. I see where you're coming from on that.
But you should be happy about that. I'm not criticizing you for that. You should be happy about that. Just our fans really that day were a true, absolute disgrace to let that happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even when you guys came to Athens, it was a great game. It wasn't an absolute.
You were muted. I couldn't hear that last part.
Sorry about that. Some jackass decided he wanted to show how small his nuts were and ride up the street with no exhaust, basically.
Wait, what?
No, that's why I muted my mic, man. Like
Okay.
some dickless driving up the street in a truck with like no exhaust. That shit was just unnecessarily loud, going 5 miles an hour.
Oh, that stuff drives me crazy. I could go on all day about that stuff, but I probably sound like a grumpy.
Yeah, like you said, even when Notre Dame came to Athens, it was a good game. So yeah, I would like to see, you know, that kind of revisit in the future. I mean, because when Georgia went to South Bend, and then when y'all came to Athens, I think both sides. I mean, they were definitely hospitable. There wasn't no hostility whatsoever. It was just a good ass time.
Yeah, nobody really said anything to me, and I was decked out in my ND gear, and I was treated pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, like those kind of matchups, dude. See, I think that's the underrated aspect of these kind of matchups because the fan bases. I mean, it's not Alabama or Auburn or Ohio State, Michigan. The fan bases don't absolutely hate each other. This is just it was a great time to get together and enjoy fucking football. Just enjoy the game, enjoy the pregame festivities. Because when you came down, we watched the band, come out, before the game and all that good stuff. I mean, it was just overall a good time.
Yeah, visited the bookstore there and hung out with a lot of different fans, met some cool people. Watched a guy get wearing loafers and shorts get covered in shit.
Oh God, that shit! Dude, I'm glad we got that on video. Not the actual incident, but talked about it after. Yeah. I mean that shit will forever live in infamy right there.
So to everybody watching, let's explain that story. So we were inside one of the halls.
I think it was inside the Tate Center, I think.
Okay, yeah, we were inside the Tate Center. We had to use the bathroom, and we were in there. We were in there taking a piss, and one of the I think it was one of the urinals that got clogged, right? Or was it the toilet? No, it had to have been the toilet.
It was one of the urinals.
Oh, it was one of the urinals. Okay, yeah. So I'm sorry, piss water, not shit water. So one of the urinals got plugged, and so of course they bring in somebody to try to unclog it and fix the problem. Well, right next to the broken urinal that was somewhat flooded a little bit was this Notre Dame fan, and just picture, for those of you who have seen National Lampoon's National Lampoon's Vacation, just imagine Clark Griswold. He's wearing he's wearing the polo shirt, khaki shorts, and loafers. So the guy who's in there trying to unclog the urinal, he's going to town with his plunger. He gets the plunger stuck, pulls the plunger back out, and this nasty piss water splatters all over the guy's legs. And his instant reaction was, "Jesus, man!"
Yeah, he just yelled out, "Jesus Christ!" That's what he yelled out.
Okay. So he has all this nasty piss water running down his leg and all over his loafers with no socks. And it was it's like myself personally, I wasn't even paying attention because I was just trying to concentrate on taking a piss. But I did hear "Jesus, man," and I'm thinking what was that all about? I come back out because you got out before me. I come out of the bathroom. Magnum here is bent over laughing, and he's borderline crying. And I'm not trying to sound delusional or anything, but I just really wasn't paying attention to what was going on because I was trying to take care of my own business. But Magnum's laughing on his knees, and I'm like, "Dude, what's so funny?" And then he tells me this story. And I'm like, "Oh, well, damn, that is funny."
Dude, that shit, dude, that's one of those situations, like, I never thought I would see that shit in person. Like, because the Notre Dame fan, he was standing pretty close to that fucking urinal while the guy was plunging. And the guy, like the janitor, just gave zero fucks, man, because he was plunging the ever-living shit out of that urinal, splashing piss water like everywhere every time he was fucking plunging, and that shit was going everywhere. And then when he pulled it out that last time, Woo, that shit got all over that dude's legs. Yeah, like I said, he had them khaki shorts on, loafers, no socks, gets all over him. He just looks down. He was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I heard it. I just didn't see it
It's
happen.
ironic that he yelled out Jesus Christ, and with him being a Notre Dame fan, I think that's why I was cracking up so much. I was like, that shit was perfect.
Well, it's because he I think another thing too is because he had that, just because he when you see somebody dressed like that, polo shirt, khaki shorts, loafers, no socks, that's like I don't know if preppy is the right word, but it's that look, maybe
Yeah.
kind of snobbish. I don't know what the right term would be.
I don't know, but just the fact that he was standing that close, like, all right, so he knew that the guy was coming in there to fix the goddamn toilet, and just the fact I couldn't believe he was just standing that close to begin with, because I didn't say anything, but I'm just thinking, I was like, yeah, this dude's about to get ready to plunge. You might want to back up. That motherfucker just stood right there, and that dude was plunging the ever living shit out of that urinal. His water went everywhere, goddamn it, and oh, that shit was so fucking hilarious. Man, I ain't never gonna forget that ever.
Oh, look who we got in the house, dude. We got Big Ball Daddy here.
Oh, BBD's up in here?
Yeah. He's like, Eli Gold sucked, but the two Irish brothers don't.
Oh, he's talking about that situation that went down the University of Alabama. They just pretty much told Eli Gold to kick rocks after.
Oh yeah. I did see it. They let an announcer go. I didn't look too much into it.
Like that was wrong as fuck. Like that was dirty as shit. And I already don't like Alabama. I can't stand those motherfuckers. And just the fact that they just did Eli Gold like that shit just gave me another reason to hate those sons of bitches. No, that shit would have never happened at Georgia. They would have even attempted some shit like that with Larry Munson. All hell would have broke loose. There would have been absolute fucking chaos and mutiny going on that campus. We wouldn't have tolerated it. And just the fact that that university just willing to do that, giving zero fucks, dude. Like, really? Some shit is just unacceptable to me.
Hey, BBD, there's a link, man. If you're still on and you want to get on and talk to us for a little bit, we'd love to have you. Yeah. Meanwhile, with all this announcement, with all these announcers and commentators, they're treating your guys as ones like crap, but us, we want to see ours go.
Well, I like what we have right now. I like Scott Howard. I think Scott Howard has done a terrific job, and when him and Eric Zier, when they call games like, but I love what we got now. No, I mean, nobody's ever going to replace Larry Munson. That's just not going to happen. But Scott Howard and Eric Zier, I love the kind of atmosphere they bring, to the table. I love the way they call games. And Scott Howard, man, during that 2021 national championship game when we played Alabama and beat them, like Scott Howard was sick as a dog, man. He had the bad case of the flu, and he still sat there and called the game with Eric Zier and still showed a ton of energy. It's like especially ever since then. I liked him before then, but ever since then, like I gained even more respect for him.
I got you. And hey, BBD, we are no problem, dude. You're a good bud to us as well, and yeah, it's just we're glad to have you in our life, dude.
Yeah, man. Like the early days of the TTC, man. It was, all of us is what made it. Without like BVD, without me, without Sean and Don B 310, Augusta Gate, without all of us, man, like there would have never been a TTC for several years afterwards. It was just all of us college football fans wanting to get together and show support for our teams, and over the years, I mean, time has passed, but I will say that over the last several years, BBD, you're kind of the last of the breed, keeping the train going as as good as you can, and
A lot of the old crew is gone.
I mean, all of them are basically. I mean, well, I guess technically, no, not all of them because Law Tide is still there doing his shit.
Yeah, Law Tide's there, BVD, me. You may not be doing football videos regularly, Magnum, but you're still around.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, yeah, guys like BVD, they over the years, he grew on me, man. I like BVD. He would trash talk your team, but BVD wasn't one of those just hateful ass fans and just hate you out of spite. But no, you call BVD and talk to him for a little bit and talk about football or life in general, and BVD talk to you. Not too many people would do that, and
BVD has a great sense of humor, dude. It's awesome. And one of the best memories that I have, it doesn't even involve football. I remember this was like 7-8 years ago, I think it was. He was doing his Sunday night live stream. I came in under with a couple of fake names, actually, just not to be mean, but just to have some fun and ask him some stupid questions. But when under the name Barney McDougal, I asked him, like, hey, BVD, how much for the door locks from your house and your shower heads? And the reaction was just absolutely priceless. Like, he goes, he's reading it. He's like, Barney McDougal, how much for your door locks and shower heads? And then he goes, what the make love does that mean? Because really think about it. Who would come on to your stream and ask to buy your door locks and shower heads?
Like the best luck. BVD's got some great videos over the years. He really has. But the ones I will always remember was when he was first. Well, technically, when all of us were getting started, he used to do a little series. He called it the Big Orange Breakdown, and BVD was talking. And he got done. He stood up and he went to take a step, and he absolutely busted his motherfucking ass. I mean, he fell hard as fuck to the floor. And then all of a sudden, I heard, "Damn it!" He just yelled out. I thought that was the funniest fucking thing at the time, and
that shit hurts.
That really got me like hooked on BVD. Like I watched a couple of his Big Orange breakdowns before then, but when I saw that one and he just busted his ass and yelled that out, I was like, all right, I'm hooked. I'm subbing to this guy. And then, not too long after that, that's when like the actual TTC took place. Because at the time, yeah, like there were some videos being made, but when Don B 310 and several other people, you had Don B 310, you had
I remember him.
You had was it, what do you go by? Boomer Sooner. Was his name Nicholas Lawton was his actual name. Then you had Cowboy TV. They started doing like call outs and trying to get more college football fans up on camera supporting their team and all that good stuff. And that's when I actually joined in. I'm like, hey man, that shit sounds like it could be pretty fun. Let me talk shit with these people. So that's how I actually picked up the camera and got going. As I saw Don B calling out Alabama fans because that first game of the 2009 season, was Virginia Tech, Alabama. So Don V got on there and called out every last like fucking Alabama fan, and that's when Law Tide answered him. I think that was technically his first TTC video.
I got a couple things to say about Don B, but we got to remedy that, BVD, because he says here, actually sad that Mags and I never got to meet in person.
Yeah, we can. Hey, BVD, we can make that fucking happen, dude. Like I've actually mentioned that to you before. And look, if there's one person, like I've met several people from the TTC, and I've tailgated with Gator Boo. I've tailgated with Augusta Gator. I've had some good times, but there's one person in the TTC that I absolutely like need to meet and just shoot the shit with. It's BVD. Period. We need to like make that happen. Even if it's just for like one time and just for a couple hours. It fucking needs to happen. Like, especially after what happened with BBD last year. You know, we're not guaranteed forever on this earth, and I feel that, and I've actually mentioned this to my wife before. I feel, I have to meet BBD at least once, and I really would like to make that happen.
Yeah, well, BBD, get us. Yeah, let's make it happen. Oh, he wants to. He says, "How close are you to Panama City?"
How close am I to Panama City? Shit. I'm in Northeast Georgia, so it would take me, god damn, like probably 7 to maybe 8 hours, rough estimate. Maybe a little longer, depending on traffic. Why do you say Panama City? What are you in Panama City? Like, what the fuck? I could have swore you actually lived up in fucking Knoxville, or was it Greenville?
Yeah, Greenville, Tennessee. He says, "Oh hell, well you're actually closer to me then." Oh, okay. Next week is that Olympics thing, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. No disrespect to you, BBD, but I refuse to have anything to do with a certain individual that attends that. If I went, I would literally probably go to jail, so I'd stay away from that. If we can arrange a time, maybe, I could probably, figure something out, meet you in Tennessee or whatever. But yeah, regardless, we need to make it happen.
Well, Magnum, I'd bail you out. It'd be worth seeing that.
Dude, I mean,
I didn't want to go there, but
yeah,
might as well have a quick laugh at it. But yeah, I was watching BBD stream, and I knew that they're what you call it, the Slob Olympics. I knew that was coming up pretty soon. So I do remember you talking about that, BBD.
Yeah, fuck BBD. Like, if you can make it to like maybe a game or something or some shit. Well, actually, BBD, I'm about. I see the comment. I'm about 45 minutes from Helen. Actually, I'm not too far from there. I actually used to live just like up the road from Helen, 5 minutes from Helen, but now I'm like 45 minutes from Helen, which isn't far. I mean, I can still get there pretty quickly. But yeah, that's about the. I mean, you can say that's pretty much close to the area I'm at. So you know it, kind of where I'm located.
And of course, we're not going to give out your hometown on a stream here, not at all.
No, I mean, just saying that he knows about the area I'm in.
Can you say the name of the town?
Let's see the best way I could do this here. I am. I'll say this. Are you familiar with areas like Clarksville or that kind of that area, BBD? Are you familiar with that?
Real quick story. I'll never forget when here you another comment.
Okay, okay, I see the. Okay, let me do that real quick here. That ain't gonna take but a second. All right, let's see.
Well, Christina just mentioned it in the comments, Mags.
All right, so I am okay. BBD, I am. It says 3 hours and 10 minutes from you, from Greenville, which isn't bad. Like that's not bad.
Shit, it's not bad at all considering me being up here in Illinois. It took me a good let's see. I stopped to see BBD first, and I hung out with him for a good couple days. But in total, I think it was like almost 10 hours down to see all you guys. Yeah, so 3 hours is nothing.
Yeah. That's a lot closer than fucking Panama City. Holy shit.
I like this. BVD says, well, fuck, man, as they say in North Carolina, carry your ass.
Yeah, we did we got to set, figure out, we need to make it happen. Like, seriously. Like, we just got to figure out, like, a day and just say, fuck it. Let's make it happen. Because especially, a couple years ago when my dad passed away and all that good stuff. I mean, we don't have forever on this earth. A lot of us, we make the excuse of we're too busy to do things and we never get around to doing it. And, that shit needs to stop, especially, with people you consider like, close friends and whatnot. Like, I mean, technically me and BBD, we've known each other, since 2009. Like 15, that's 15 years.
Yeah.
This year, 15 fucking years, man.
Well, that's a perfect example because look, I just turned 38 years old last month, and that just is a perfect example of how time has just flown by. Because 2009 is when I got going on here, and now here we are, 2024.
That's when most of us got started on it. That was the birth of the college TTC, was 2009. 15 years ago. And there were times BBD, he came to Athens for games. Obviously at the time I was living in Alabama, but we should have made it happen then. But we always get caught up in, what we're doing at that particular moment. It's like, oh, I got this going on, that going,
Yeah.
We don't have forever, man. And you got to make shit happen. You got to, sometimes you just got to say, fuck it. Like, let's pick it. Like, we'll figure out a day. Fuck everything else this day. This is what I'm doing.
Absolutely. I'm all behind that. I got to tell the story real quick. Going back to when you guys were talking about where everybody's at and whatnot. I'll never forget the part when I was down visiting you guys, and we went to find I think it was a Party City to find some props for the Gunther and Wayne video that we did down there. And the closest Party City was I think it was in Anderson, South Carolina. And I was driving us, and I had the directions on the Google Maps.
Oh, is this the part where I thought you were damn near about to kill us?
No, when we were going to Party City. That was the day that I almost killed us is when I turned into the wrong lane on game day.
Yeah, this motherfucker.
I turned too early. I turned into the wrong lane, and that lane turned out to be
down the wrong goddamn way. And it just so happened he did it right next to a fucking cop. But and the good thing is that cop was cool. He was like, I don't fucking care. Yeah, you keep going.
I was just trying to look this way and that way. It was busy enough that day, and
I'll never forget what you said after that, because he was like,
I already felt stupid enough.
You said after it happened, you was like, okay, yeah, this doesn't go on YouTube. That was great.
Well, it's just the thing is, I'm just trying to do the best I can to keep us safe. I'm trying to look at both directions, both ways. Look, I already felt retarded enough. Okay,
Well, to be fair, I mean, you wasn't familiar with that area anyway, so it happened.
I thought the lane that I turned into was it
Well,
wasn't.
it just happened to be. It's like, what kind of? That's just the shit kind of luck that we would have. It happened right next to a goddamn cop, dude.
Yeah, thank God he was cool. Otherwise, I was getting a ticket for something. I knew it just happened so fast. I mean, look, I'm not a moron. I'm not stupid. I just turned.
What did you say about the Party City thing, though?
Yeah, we got way off track. Thank you, Mags. I appreciate it. So that one day, you, me, and Christina, we were heading to and Abby, of course. We were heading to Party City to try to find some props. Remember, for the Gunther and Wayne video?
Yeah.
Well, the nearest Party City was in I think it was Anderson, South Carolina, and it was funny because I had the directions logged into to Google Maps, and it was playing. They were saying the directions through my speakers, and then all of a sudden. This part was great when it said on my phone or through the speakers, welcome to South Carolina, and Magnum's eyes were like this. What? You looked either scared, shocked, or angry. Maybe all three in one.
I was more shocked, dude, because I didn't realize that we were going into South Carolina to go to Party City, dude. Like when I heard that, I was like, the fuck are we doing in South Carolina?
It's I looked at it on the map, and it's really not that far away from the Georgia border.
It's not, but I just didn't realize that the closest one was Anderson, South Carolina. I didn't realize we were going to be across the state line. That's what caught me off guard. I thought maybe the closest would be like, I don't know, like Gainesville or some shit, just, where we would stay in Georgia. But goddamn, I wouldn't realize that we were going into fucking South Carolina just to go to Party City.
Well, and the best part, though, and this we did not get on YouTube, but I remember you saw all the Clemson and the South Carolina hats that they had in the store, and you're like, Sean, block the cameras for me. I'm gonna stomp on one of these South Carolina hats and spit on it. Tell me you remember that.
Say that one more time.
Party City had all these South Carolina Gamecock and Clemson hats hanging up.
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, Sean, I want to take one of these hats and stomp on it and piss on it and spit on it.
Yeah, but I think I said something along the lines of like, well, we're here on a mission, and I'm not trying to get kicked out of the store.
Right. I'm saying it was funny as hell.
Yeah, I had done that in the past with an Auburn hat before, but that's a story for another day. But yeah, yeah, life happens, and it's about time to make life happen. Yeah, BBD. We need to figure something out, man. Like seriously. Even as far as short time, like we should hang out and at least do a video talking a little college football. I mean, it wouldn't be normal if we didn't do that. I mean, that's how we met. God damn it! And so, regardless, I mean, we need to make something happen. Period.
Yeah, you don't want to wait till it's too late. And I've been fortunate enough to have been able to meet plenty of you guys. Obviously, Mags, I met you. BBD met you, and Christine, I include you with Magnum, so don't take offense to that. But
and I've gotten to meet several people from YouTube, and I always said who would have thought that just one day deciding to pick up a camera and talk trash would lead to tailgating with some of these guys and making some good memories, because
I know it's awesome.
Yeah, because like when I met with the first tailgate I actually met up with Lewis, believe it or not, was actually a Falcons game. That was in 2010. So the year after we started the TTC, I met up with Lewis at a Falcons game, and that was the day that the Falcons actually destroyed the Carolina Panthers. It was great. It was a good tailgate, but I tell everybody, an NFL tailgate is nothing compared to a college football tailgate. Like college football, the atmosphere is just so more. It's just way more exciting. It just everything about it, man. The college football is far superior.
Absolutely.
But then I got to meet up with Gator Boo at a Georgia Florida game, and I met up with Augusta Gator there too. So I've got to meet up with a few people. I took you remember a guy that went by the name of UGA Fan 93 back in the early days of the TTC.
Yeah, name rings a bell.
Yeah, I met up with him in Athens, and I told you that I showed you the spot where the original Dog Pound video was filmed. And we met up there at a Georgia Auburn game, and that was actually his first ever Georgia Auburn game, and I actually paid for his ticket. And yeah, and so I've met a lot of good guys over the years, and BVD is just one of those that it wouldn't be right if it didn't happen.
That's got to happen, man. It has to. And there was what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. Oh, speaking of meeting people, and I haven't talked to them in a
while. Christina is telling me that he said that of course BBD said he's visiting Panama, and she said that he wants to visit us on the way to Panama. BBD, if you want to hang out or visit, chill for a little bit before you actually go to Panama, fuck dude, let me know, and fuck yeah dude, we will make that happen. If you're able to go down there and you want to stop by and chill, just shoot the shit for a little bit, fuck yeah dude, I'm for it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have each other's numbers, of course, right?
I don't know if his number has changed. I think I have one of his older numbers. I think, I don't know if he's changed phone numbers since then, but well, either way, I mean, he's on my Facebook, so I mean,
there's Facebook Messenger.
I mean, he actually commented on one of my posts today, so it's not like we don't, talk to each other at all. So yeah, if that's in the plans, I say we do it.
Yeah, make it happen, guys. Make it happen. I was going to say before too. I haven't talked to him in a while, but last time I talked to Augusta Gator, he was really trying to get me to come down and fish.
Well, he's done that with me too. But he knows I like to fish, and Augusta is really, I'm not going to say. I mean, I won't say his real name on stream because I mean, unless he gives me his permission. But so I don't know. But Augusta Gator, he's exceptionally laid back. Like he is just a cool motherfucker to talk to.
Oh, I'm not saying I hate fishing. I would totally go down there and give fishing a shot.
He is absolutely hilarious when he doesn't even try to be. Like I can tell you from firsthand experience, like just tailgating with him, that dude will say some of the funniest fucking shit, and he won't even react to it like it's funny. But it's to me, it was absolutely fucking hilarious. And I remember when we tailgated at the Georgia Florida game. Oh, he got my ass good. I knew about it, but I had never had it. And it's this. I think it was called the ghost pepper sauce. Like it was the same kind of sauce that he used when he made Bill for.
I know about ghost.
Eat that hell burger. But anyway, I had never tried it, and I didn't realize how bad that shit was. And he put some on a plate. He was like, "Here, try this sauce real quick. Tell me what you think about it." Well, I went to get my whole finger in that motherfucker to try it. He was like, "Whoa, hey, just a little bit, man. Just barely put your finger in." I was like, "Why, man? I need a good taste." And he was like, "No, just a little." He tried warning me.
Trust me, Magnum. Trust me.
But anyway, I did that shit, and man, I couldn't even talk for the next 5 minutes, dude. That shit had my mouth fucking on fire, dude. That shit was brutal.
Yeah, I will never understand how people can handle that kind of heat. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that shit was brutal as fuck. But
were you able to taste it at least? Was the flavor of it good?
What flavor? That shit was instantly flames. I really couldn't taste a flavor.
Even though sauces can be hot, they still have flavor.
Some of them, yes, but this was like instant death, dude. Like how like some sauces, it's a buildup. It's a buildup to the heat. Not this shit. This shit is like at the moment that shit hits your tongue, it feels like you just stuck your tongue on the sun's surface. Like it's like instant heat. Like I can't even put into words, man. Like there's no buildup, nothing. It's just
ghost chili?
Huh?
This was ghost chili?
Ghost pepper sauce.
Ghost pepper. Okay, so yeah, go from the ghost chili then. Yeah, ghost pepper sauce.
Like there was there was like no flavor to me, dude. It was just heat. That's all I tasted. It was just straight up heat, dude. Like I didn't taste any flavor.
All right, that story is about as funny as the one you told me about your experience with Everclear mixed with Hawaiian Punch.
Jesus Christ. That was the last time I ever touched that shit, dude. This was way back in the day. I'm talking like the year 2000 back in the day, like 24 years ago. Fucking, it was the first time I had it. I was at a party, and they was just, they offered it to me. He's like, man, try this. And with the Hawaiian Punch mixed in, like, I thought it was weak as fuck because I didn't really taste too much alcohol. Like, I'm guessing they probably just mixed a good bit of Hawaiian Punch in there that kind of, I don't know, what's the term I'm looking for? It just kind of made the alcohol, like, I couldn't hardly taste it. So anyway.
The alcohol flavor.
Yeah, so it was like, a legit regular sized solo cup. And I drank that whole fucking thing. And I'm sitting down while I'm drinking it. And, I basically chugged that shit within a few gulps because I couldn't really taste alcohol. I taste more Hawaiian Punch than anything. And so after, a couple minutes, I'm just sitting there like, this shit ain't shit. Like, I'm not feeling a goddamn thing. Well, the moment I stand up, that's when shit changed. I remember standing up, and it was just almost like an instant dizziness. Like, just the room just started spinning, and I remember grabbing my head, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And I fell face first through a fucking glass table. I'm lucky as fuck that I didn't get any like cuts or anything like that. Like that could have ended very, very, very badly because that glass coffee table, like when I say shattered, I mean shattered. I fell straight through that shit.
Oh my God!
And I never touched that shit again after that.
Well, I'll never forget one of the funniest stories I heard came from that 85 Bears 30 for 30 documentary on ESPN. And Steve McMichael was talking about how when they got to the Super Bowl in New Orleans, they hit up Bourbon Street, and he says, somebody should have told me that they put Everclear in those Hurricanes at Pat O'Brien's because I had to regroup that night.
Dude, like, yeah, I mean, Everclear, that I didn't realize at the time. Like I said, that was my first time having it. That shit is potent. Like that shit, it's got a lot.
180 proof.
Yeah, I mean that shit is potent. I was an absolute. I should have done some investigation on that shit before I chugged that whole solo cup, dude. Like that was my own dumbass fault, and I fucking paid for it by going through a glass table. And thank fuck that nothing bad happened there because. I could have got glass through my eyes. I could have got glass in my neck. Like it could have been.
That could have been impaled.
Yeah, dude. Like that could have ended very badly. But luckily it didn't. And so at least I was smart enough to say, "Yep, okay, this is my one and only time doing this shit. I'm never drinking this stuff again." But I mean, the last time I really actually drank heavily was 2006. I mean, I made it was almost as dumb as the Everclear incident. Fucking, it was my birthday of 2006, and I remember. Yeah, that's my daughter. I remember fucking. We wanted to have a nice big ass party, and so we got like some Captain Morgan spiced rum. We got some Hennessy. We had some Hypnotic, and then we actually said, "Fuck it, let's get some beer too." So we just loaded up, and I was drinking all that shit. And my dumbass made the stupid decision to not eat anything before I started drinking.
Oh my God. I hate where this is going.
Yeah. And so I'm drinking a lot of shit. And we basically were drinking like we were playing the video game, and it was like each time like whoever lost had to take a shot. Like we had shots lined up for everybody. And the loser had to take shot. And so we were getting so fucked up that it was like rotating. Like I would lose and then win. You know, I would lose. Then it was like everybody was getting shot after shot after shot. And then finally I was like, dude, I'm seeing 3 screens, man. I think I'm done. And, but my dumb ass, like I wasn't done. Like after we quit playing the video games, that's when we started drinking the beer. Like I think I would have been okay had I not started drinking beer with the hard liquor.
Well, you got the first part right, because the old saying is liquor before beer, you're in the clear.
Well,
you got that part right.
Yeah, and you know, maybe if I would have ate something, I probably could have handled both. But since I didn't eat anything, and I decided to drink hard liquor and beer, yeah, I fucked up. But anyway, I'm feeling.
You got to eat something, yeah.
I was feeling okay, while I was still awake. But after the party was over and everything, and it was time for me to go to bed, I went to sleep, and I woke up, dude. My head felt like it was about to explode, and that's not an exaggeration. Like it felt like my head was just gonna blow. Like the top of my head was just gonna blow out, dude. Like all over. Yeah, I felt it was terrible.
I know.
I knew I was dehydrated as fuck as well. I was so thirsty. And we didn't have anything in the house to drink except milk.
Oh my God.
And that was the only thing we had. And I was like, this is a bad idea, but fuck this shit. I need it. I grabbed that. It was an entire gallon of milk. Like we had, it was just bought earlier that day. I grabbed that gallon of milk and I chugged that shit. I chugged about half of the gallon. And within minutes, I threw up a total of 6 times.
Oh.
Like I went off like hanging off my back porch. I went off my back porch, and I was just hanging over, just like everywhere, 6 times.
And there's no. It's so bad when you're. It's bad enough to throw up, but when you have to throw up milk, oh God.
Yeah, dude, it was fucking terrible. And after I threw up those 6 times, I felt better. I mean, you throw up 6 times, I mean, you get all that shit out, you feel better. But afterwards, you know, at the time I was actually roommating with a buddy of mine, and after that 6 times, dude, I was just holding my head, and I looked at him. I said, dude, what the fuck was I thinking, man? That was a fucking terrible ass idea. And I said, I am never doing this shit again. And I was like, till this day, I haven't. You know, like that was the last fucking time I ever drank like that, because I did not like the way I felt afterwards, dude. Like that
sportsbook. The sportsbook Mag doesn't. He ain't no alcoholic. It's like, come on, everybody has a bad experience now and then.
Yeah, dude, this is from 2006. It's 2006. He probably just joined in. Like it's been years. Like, God damn, I can't even remember the last time I took a drink of any alcohol. So yeah, like, fuck off. Don't get me started.
I don't think he was meaning it personally, but yeah.
Well,
but anyway, I don't drink that much either. But I've been where you've been before. I've been drunk a few times, and a couple times it was pretty cool because I was in Ireland. So to be drunk in Ireland, I don't know. I feel there's something special about that.
Now, if I were to go to Ireland, I would probably if I went to Ireland, yeah, I'd probably meet up with Jerry, and he would probably take me to the pub, and I would probably have a drink. I mean, I'm not, dude. The days of me getting sloshed like that are over. But going to Ireland, and if I were to meet up with Jerry and whatnot, yeah, I'd probably have a drink with him. But
we're going. Oh, if you met up with him, there's no doubt a pub visit is going to happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't, I wouldn't get all fucked up or whatnot, but I would probably have a drink with him. But yeah, dude, I refuse to go through that again. That shit's never going to happen again, ever.
Of course, there was my 21st birthday. That was pretty messed up. And then 2 times in Ireland. And other than that, not really a whole lot in my life with being smashed. But I'll tell you one thing, the 2 times I got smashed in Ireland, the first time that I visited, it was after we were in a pub after a Gaelic football match, and we were having a good time, and I was on the floor dancing, getting my groove on. This dude actually let his wife dance all over to me. She was like, she just was like, she was all over me. I'm like, hey, what's up, baby? And she's like, oh, hi. I'm like, I forget. Well, obviously there's a lot I forgot, but she's like, yeah, my husband's right over there. And I'm like, and he's letting you dance all over me? And she's like, well, yeah. I'm like, okay, what do I care then? And so that was kind of fun. The second time was 2019 when I was over there. And it was just for, visit for New Year's. And Jerry kind of screwed me. He screwed me over on this because over in Ireland, they have this cider drink called Bulmers. It's pretty much like what Angry Orchard would be over here, or Strongbow. And so I started drinking Bulmers first, and then I switched to Guinness and Smittix and whatnot. Well, what he didn't tell me was that's the same thing as liquor before beer. Or no, scratch it. The other way around, beer before liquor, essentially. They call it a snake bite because he's like, you drink cider drinks before beer, you're screwed. And I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me that? And he goes, I just wanted to see what would happen. So I end up blowing chunks in a dumpster at a gas station.
Yeah. See, that's some shit. Exactly what I would have done back in the day. I wouldn't have give a fuck, dude. But if that was me, yeah, like the story I just told from 2006, yeah, I would have done it. No questions asked. I would have done it.
Christina says you're not going to Ireland without her.
No, that's been on her bucket list for a good while. She really wants to go over there. So yeah, if I ended up going over there, yeah, she would definitely be coming along. No getting around that. Like, yeah.
Been there 3 times. Been there 3 times, and Jerry wants me to come there in August this year because I guess AC/DC is going to be playing Croke Park, but it sounds cool. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to make that or afford it.
No, I think it's more worth it for like a football game. Like I can see that, but just for a concert or whatever, I probably wouldn't even do it.
Well, I've also seen AC/DC in person already when they played Wrigley Field in 2015. I was there for that, so that's another bucket list thing for me. So, but it's just it's not exactly cheap to go there.
No, dude, it's overseas, man. Like that shit.
When there's a game going on, like when Notre Dame came over there, all the prices are going to be jacked up on things.
Oh yeah, dude. That's the nature of the beast. That's why if you're going to go overseas, it's best to plan for it like well ahead of time.
Yes. Oh, when I was there for Notre Dame Navy last year, I started saving pretty much since the start of the year in January.
I mean, fuck, dude. Like, even before you came down here for the Notre Dame Georgia game, dude, like we had talked about that like a couple years like prior. So you basically planned for that for like 2 years, pretty much.
Yeah, just about. Because we weren't able to get tickets, but if we were able to, they weren't going to be cheap.
Well, the thing is, too, like you would have spent a lot of money on a hotel for that entire week as well. That's why I told you, it's like, dude, fuck a hotel. Like, I'm only an hour from Athens. Like, chill here. You're good.
Well, you guys saved my tail for that, and I'm still to this day very grateful for it.
Yeah, I mean, I know how expensive hotels would be. So, yeah, that's why we offered it.
Well, and still, like I said, I'm still very grateful, and I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I hate to run, dude, but it is my baby's bedtime, and
Yeah.
he needs to go to bed. And I need to go. I need to get ready to go to bed myself. Work comes early.
I haven't had supper yet, so I should probably get something to eat. But speaking of which, I got to ask you one last question. Going back to Augusta Gator for a second, the big ass, all those big ass fish that he catches. What the hell does he use for bait?
I'm not exactly sure what he uses for bait, but I know he goes out like on the lakes in his boat and whatnot. I'm not exactly sure what he uses for bait. Like I said, I've never been fishing with him, so I don't know. But that dude does catch some absolute monsters.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, what are those? Like bass or?
Yeah, I think most of them are. He's caught some catfish too.
Okay. All I know is that they are huge sons of bitches. I can tell you that much. But yeah, I knew he was telling me last time I talked to him was that he was wanting the three of us to get together and fish with him.
Yeah, he loves to fish now.
And I think, let's see, the monsters that he catches, they probably feed him and his family for what, like 2 weeks?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I would imagine so.
But I mean, I know I've heard some, like, for really big fish, I know some people use chicken liver, some use like raw meat, I guess. I don't know. But whatever he uses, good Lord, it works.
I'm guessing he probably uses a little bit of everything. He probably uses worms. He probably uses crickets. He probably uses blood bait. With him being the average the fisherman that he is, there's no question he probably uses a lot of different bait.
Yeah, I would say so. It was something that's a little bit more than worms.
Yeah, he they got your basic worms. You got night crawlers. Crickets are always good. Blood bait's really good for catfish. Like no question. He uses a little bit of everything because he's caught a lot of different fish. That dude will catch some absolute monsters.
Oh, he used to send me pictures all the time, and I'm like, damn, dude, how'd you catch that?
Yeah, he'll catch a lot of big ass fish. I mean, some of the bass that he's caught and some of the catfish. Holy shit! Those damn things are huge.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, man, I'll let you guys get to bed and listen. Thank you so much, dude, for filling in for Ben and Ryan. Usually it's Ryan on Fridays, but it's always a blast to have you on, dude.
Oh yeah, man. Like I said, I love doing the shows with you, and if it's where I can, whenever you need a co-host or just somebody to talk college football with on a show, if it's where I can, dude, I'll more than happy to do it.
Oh, you're a big go-to, my friend. And that's what I like about these streams is how we go from talking about the main topic to just shooting the breeze.
Oh yeah, I mean we covered the major topic and everything, and just shoot the shit for a little bit. I'm glad BBD stopped by, and hopefully we can hopefully I can meet up with him in the not too distant future and everything, because that just needs to happen. It really does.
You guys make that happen, because that'd make for an awesome video.
Yeah. I mean, we would definitely have to make a video, even if it's only like 5 minutes long or whatever. Like we would have to do something.
Oh, of course, absolutely. But on that note, dude, I will let you guys get going. And again, thank you, Magnum. And on that note, everyone, you all have a great night, and thank you for joining us tonight. It was an awesome stream, and thank you for everyone showing up. And of course, be on the lookout for more videos from Ben and myself once we get going again.
Before we go, I know I normally say this, but somebody else wants to say it before we go. Hey, Abigail, you tell them go dogs. You got to say go dogs. You got to say go dogs first. Say go dogs. I know you want to do that too, but say go dogs. Sick 'em. Say she's wanting to bark. That's what she likes doing. She likes doing the woof woof woof.
Yeah.
Abigail, can you say go dogs?
She can. She's done it plenty of times. Hey, say go dogs.
Go dogs.
Sick 'em.
There you go.
Woof woof
There you
woof.
go. We may be a Notre Dame channel, but we love it when kids get to show love for their teams.
Oh yeah, she'll sit there and she'll watch the games too, and Georgia scores a touchdown, she'll yell out, "Touchdown, Georgia!"
All right, well, you guys have yourselves a great night. God bless to everyone, and go dogs and go Irish for me, baby.
Just go dogs.